tweet at them. Pen man, you tweet again. With a hot rhythm, yeah, them have to feature them. See my friend, whether you wild or nice, get your back for bed. Wicked, pen, man, aye. Yo, that one have for the woman them. Let me tell you this. Happy anytime you visit, girl. Just take my hand and give me a twirl. You don't need to enter, you are my Miss World. I'm so glad that you came my way. You're the only one that call me baby. Don't have no fear, you're my only lady. That's a lie, it's just you and Mary. Keep me calm whenever me blaze. Hey gal, what you doing? Turn round back.
1 1 2. Mic check 1 1 2. Can you hear me? Hello everyone. Jay Mullings from Red Mirror here, aka Wicked Penman. It's been a beautiful day today, and it's getting a bit blustery now, so I'm going to try and keep this short and sweet. I wanted to talk about, well, this is for everyone who's been thinking about two things, either starting a podcast or a YouTube channel. And I have conversations with people a lot where they're thinking of going into YouTube or they're thinking of going into podcasting. I just wanted to illustrate just through what I've done today, how simple it can be and how sometimes we get into the mode of overthinking things and overcomplicating things. So actually, let's begin with how I started. When I started making my film last year somewhere around this time, I started filming, and I hadn't filmed anything in a long while, pretty much since university. Filmed a few things here and there, but nothing major and nothing as ambitious as my film. And I made the mistake of, it's not really a mistake, but I went onto YouTube to try and find inspiration, not even inspiration, no, that's not accurate, to find examples or people who had know-how or people who could point me in the right direction, equipment to get, things to consider, so on and so forth. Technology has changed a lot since when I was in university playing with their cameras. So I wanted to make sure I wasn't squandering money and I wasn't buying things that were going to be obsolete in, a short period of time. With that being said, what I ended up experiencing and going through was a lot of confusion. If let's say the consensus was there were like five manufacturers or 5 different styles of camera or tripod, or let's say there were 5 popular things for every equipment type that you needed, you'd get 5 different videos saying, don't consider the other 4, this is the one. And I wasn't hip to the fact that they were endorsing products at the time. I think YouTube kind of changed things and clamped down to the point where people have to declare if they're given something by someone for free. So it's not just a it's you can't take it as basically being an endorsement in faith. It's kind of colored somewhat by the fact that they were given this thing to test for free. The information made it seem as if everything is impossible without a team. Everything is impossible without, you have to do this and you have to do that and you have to go through. Of course we go through stages of getting to improve at something, but there are some people that improve at things at a quicker rate than others. And the kind of general consensus of what I was coming across was, this is impossible, that is impossible. You can't go from not shooting a short film to shooting a feature film, which of course I did, just to not to prove anyone wrong, but that was my ambition from the beginning, was to make a feature film. So, this idea that I couldn't do it without going through several short films first was ridiculous. So the thing about podcasting is, what you initially need to begin is a microphone, maybe a sound recorder, depending on your recording environment. If your recording environment is poor, then I'd suggest a sound recorder. If it's good, you might be able to get away with just a microphone. And then what you're going to need is some kind of post-audio software to clean it up, or you're going to have to, when I say you have to, what you're going to need to do is pay someone to clean it up if you can't do it yourself. Because nothing is worse than having bad audio when you're a podcast. As for a YouTube channel, the main things you need, obviously, camera, lenses, main things. And then, you need an external microphone, just because onboard microphones on cameras are terrible. And really, those 3 things, a tripod. And so at the moment, this video I'm shooting, so again, because I have more kit than I had last year, for sure. And I have more tools to help me than I did last year. But when I boiled it down, the majority of my film I shot with camera, lenses, a tripod, and when I say lenses, they're not like expensive prime lenses and this, that, and the third. They were like prosumer lenses, Sigma lenses, Tokina lenses, and I have one. This that I'm shooting on right now is my Canon pancake lens. It's literally like this big, and it costs like it's a kit lens. It usually comes with Canon cameras, but I don't have a Canon. You can get them for, I'm sure it's under £100, and it's pretty bloody good. Like you can see the bokeh, the depth of field behind me. There's all like mountainous and actually, hold on, let's do that real quick. Watch this, watch this, watch this. It's a little bit noisy, but that's my background. You can see that now. That's what I'm filming in. So obviously, hold on. And obviously I always shoot in manual focus. So, oh crap. I might have messed things up a bit. Okay, that looks all right. We seem like we're good to go now. But yeah, and that's like one of my favorite lenses. It's so small, so lightweight. So when I go guerrilla style, it's one of the lenses it lives in my bag anyway. And normally when I use the gimbal, I use the heavier lens because it's stabilized and it's a constant aperture. All of these technical things are things you can learn as you go along. Well, the most important things you need to get started: camera, lenses, microphone, tripod, memory cards, of course, a white balance board or one of those color board thingies and then some kind of editing software. DaVinci, everyone harps on about. There's a version of it that's free, that's serviceable. Final Cut Pro X, I use that in university, so it kind of became a habit. I do use DaVinci every now and then, and I use the coloring on there because it's the best coloring, like the post coloring software out of the bunch, I think. Adobe Premiere, every now and then I use it, and I will never touch Avid. Yeah, that's just a no. Normally when I'm shooting, like I said, I normally go with the gimbal for the stabilization, so everything's nice and smooth. The B-roll is smooth, and I can kind of work on getting these unique angles and just really, really, being present with my filming, and it kind of takes away, having to worry about shake and all this other stuff that you have to fix. It's just kind of baked in how you want it, and then all you got to do is frame it and color it, or reframe it and color it. So, but when you're going anywhere, like traveling, and so it's a pain in the ass bringing the gimbal anywhere. And I've traveled with my gimbal a few times now, and yeah, it's a nightmare. So today I've come up to Leaf Hill, which is in Surrey, Dorking, to be exact. And I was like, I'm gonna challenge myself to pack as light as possible, because that's another thing. I'm always filming with this bag on my back, and the bag can be quite heavy. Microphone, lenses, balance board, the thought book. I always bring my book with me. Polarizing lens, for blocking out lens flare and all of that. Different colored lens. I have all these like lens, they're lens covers or whatever you call them. Can't remember at the moment. But yeah, I always have these things in my bag, and I was like, but do I use all of them? And a lot of the time the answer is they're there in case. But today the challenge was to pack as light as possible, as I said. So today I brought the Gorilla Pod, which is light compared to the gimbal, the pancake lens, my camera, and then my microphones. I got one that takes in, it's a stereo mic for taking in Foley and ambient sound, and then my wireless, my lapel mic. So that, which I'm wearing at the moment, wireless, and they're not really that heavy, and yeah, and that's really it. That's all I've come here with, and that's as simple as that. And then obviously I'll go home, review the footage. Oh yeah, memory cards, but that's part of the camera. But that's literally it. There's nothing else to it. It'd be nice if I had a drone, if I had this thing, if I had a slider. You don't need all of that stuff. Like, at least not immediately. Like, don't think that, oh my God, I've got to spend all of this money. And you don't have to buy a camera. You can rent one. Try some out, try a kit out if you want to start your YouTube channel. See what works best for you. And I was trying to have this conversation with a friend, because my friend was like, look, I want to buy a camera. I'm like, listen, try as many before, or try as many as you can and do your research on them before you commit to one. You know, I've got a Panasonic GH5S. That's what this one is called. And it's because I work mostly with video, photo less. If I was more of a photo person with video second, I'd have gone for a GH5. I wouldn't need the GH5S. And then obviously a year later now, the technology has changed. There's a new Panasonic out. I can't remember what it's called. Sony have their cameras. What is it? The A7 III, or the Canons are always. Canon is a good choice as well because the lenses are reasonable and the lens technology is quite good. In fact, I use a speed booster on my camera. That's how I'm able to fit Canon lenses to my camera. So I like a lot of the Canon lenses. But yeah, and that's really it. And then the rest is just creativity, what you can see in your head. And that's it, really. Don't let anyone get into your head thinking that it's impossible to get started. It isn't. You can get started whenever you want with the smallest amount of equipment and the most amount of creativity. And then eventually, you know, you build out what you need. You build out your lenses, you build out your mics, you build out your isolation booths, and you get your sound reflectors and this, that, and the third put in to help you rule out certain frequencies, and that comes all down the line, unless you've got it like that and you can get started right away, in which case don't let anyone dissuade you from spending your money if you have it. But it's just that when you learn to make do with less, when you get more, it's not that you get less creative, you get more efficient, because you know the use of everything, and you know, so like a day like today, I know what I can get away with leaving. Whereas if I only ever had all of this kit, I would probably always travel with all of my kit, which would be a nightmare. I'm going to shut it down. I'm going to literally, for the last minute, I'm just going to give you, actually, I was about to just focus the thing, but let's do it like this instead. Let me show you. The cool thing about, like I said, this lens is you get excellent bokeh from it. Like depth of field is awesome. I always shoot with manual focus. I don't think I've ever shot anything in autofocus. I won't say I don't know how it works. I've just never cared to know. I've always shot everything manual focus because, you know, once you learn to focus things manually, then autofocus obviously is a lot easier. Obviously this doesn't do different focal depths. It just does 50 millimeters, which is fine. You can use this for vlogging. You can use this for action as well. And it's you know, the best of all, it's light. Throw this in your camera bag. Like I said, honestly, the lens it's about that big. Weighs nothing compared to like my Sigma Art lens, which is, you know, hench, huge, very heavy. The wind here is calmed down. And like I said, I'm gonna try and keep this. It's probably gonna be a bit on the longer side, maybe like a 12, 13 minute video. But yeah, I wanna see everyone live out your dreams. If you wanna start a YouTube channel, start out a YouTube channel. If you want a podcast, start a podcast. The worst thing that can happen is it fails. You know, and if you have people around you that already have a YouTube channel or they have a podcast, well, you know, unless they have dog shit for a soul, you should be able to, you know, call upon them and ask them for advice and pointers and so on and so forth. And I guess I'm old school in the fact that I'm from the school of, you know, if you do well, we do well, everyone does well. It's a lot better than, oh, I'm not going to teach anyone anything or answer any questions or help anyone get anywhere because that somehow jeopardizes my place in the grand scheme of things. No, what is meant for me is meant for me, and what is meant for you is meant for you. But see, it's not hard at all. GorillaPod. And look, one-handed. So I've got this hand to focus, to pull focus, I should say. And then the other hand controls this, and see, it's light. You think about it, if this was heavy, there's no way I could one-hand this. Actually, probably could. I'm a beast, I'm kind of strong, but still. Anyway, it's J Mullings for Written Mirror. I'm out.